Guys, welcome to another edition of Sales Wisdom Podcast. Today with us, we have the wonderful Wes Pennock. He is a founding member at Salesborg. He is technical editor of Tech Powered Sales by Justin My Coach, my coach. He is also a founding SDR at Jester, head of strategic development at TechNext, and a lover of cold calls. Wes, welcome to the pod. Can you introduce yourself briefly?
My name is Wes. I love to cold call. I love coffee, and I love fried chicken. In that order.
KFC or Chick-fil-A?
Neither. I'm a Popeyes guy.
Huh, Popeyes. I was thinking to do my own fried chicken. You know, you buy a chicken literally, you cover it with, like fried stuff, and then you fry it in something. Have you ever done that?
No, mainly because everybody that I know who's actually done it back in the day, back in the 70s, like for church functions and everything, straight
Yeah.
up told me, don't do it, Wes. Like, I get where you're coming from. We nearly burned down the house. Don't do it.
And what do you think about Colonel Sanders that got its success at, I think it was 67 years old?
It's basically, it was well worth the wait. It's
Yeah.
one of the biggest, I mean, to Japan, it's literally, that is one of the biggest cultural exports to the East, is
Hmm.
our love of fried chicken. We gave it to them.
Right. And we're seeing, I can't remember what fried chicken it was in France, but it got viral because kids keep putting it up on TikTok, which is interesting, right? Like the French, like the fine gastronomy, and then the fried chicken stuff opens and everyone goes bunkers. And I remember my time in Paris as well with McDonald's. There were lineups there, so it's always interesting to see that.
Right.
We talk about sales for a second. Why do
Mhm.
you love cold call? You come from a programming background that's pretty unorthodox.
Because for me, it will always be the way I got out of the poorhouse. Before I met Justin and when I was on r/co-founders, r/startups in 2019, I would randomly start up conversations with these founders and then I cold call them.
Hmm.
Everybody treats it like a chore. It's not. It's fun as long as you're willing to have fun with it. And the reality is the vast majority of people who are cold calling, simply put, don't like it to such an extent that they don't want to do it. And if that's the case, then my question has always been to them, why are you in sales? And
Yeah.
they can never give me a good answer
Hmm.
because they're like, you do emails, but a lot of times there's just no way around cold calling. That's it. And so rather than hate it, I just like the task.
Yeah. I am supposed to restart calling and like warm calling so I can have some kind of intro saying I reached out to you on LinkedIn. I reached out to you via email. I started my career cold calling. It was really painful, but built me a shell. I often talk about that.
Yeah.
So it's a huge advantage, a mindset advantage, and you need that shell, if you're brittle and if you're fragile in 2023, you get like demolished in this market, right? We've seen
Mhm.
SVB implode, and we've seen how humans are fragile. They don't have their money, like their whole life falls apart. Oh, what
Right.
will I do? Not sure if these humans ever realize that having 250K in a bank account is a huge privilege,
Yeah. They
and
don't.
that most startups don't even have the money to pay the payroll nowadays. So, but
Right.
yeah, that's a small parenthesis just to come up to my next question, which is, what are your numbers in terms of cold calls, and then we'll get in the quality side of it.
So when I'm on Denali and when I have an NVIDIA, my guy in India, my lead provider, CEO of Tasmanians, brings me leads, I'm looking at anywhere from 200 to 400 dials a day.
Wow,
And that's dozens of conversations.
on a power
And
dialer,
again,
right?
yep, power
Hmm.
and parallel. Just going on power, I'm still getting a conversation every 5 minutes. If you're doing power and parallel, you're getting a conversation every 3 minutes.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is if again, and this is where just you extrapolate,
Okay.
I'm looking at 2 dozen conversations in a single day. Easy.
Wow. Who do you
Yep.
target typically?
Right now, we were targeting, because of my background and because I actually have a Texas life and health insurance license, I was targeting owners of these commercial, insurance agents and saying, hey, do you want us to skip trace for you?
Okay.
You can go ahead and get leads, but you got to understand in that world, like if you're talking direct mail for, final expense, you're talking upwards of $45, $55 a lead.
Hmm.
It adds
Interesting.
up.
Yeah, for sure. And my question is, how do you start these calls? If we role play for a second, I connect and I say hello. What's your first sentence?
First is, hi, my name is Wes. I was wondering, are you still doing commercial insurance?
Yes,
Because
I
yeah,
am.
great. So currently, I was wondering if you had a steady supply of leads.
I don't. I rely on referrals mostly.
Okay, so in the next quarter, would you like to go ahead and start an outbound motion? Because some people aren't
Um,
okay with it.
what's an outbound motion?
What I mean by that is pounding the phones. Would you like your reps to actually go out and hunt?
Yeah. I don't have reps though. Like, do I need to have reps or I can be by myself?
You can be by yourself. Generally, inside of insurance, you would want to build an agency, especially if you're doing commercial, just because,
Okay.
again, feast and famine, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let's say I have like 4 reps. So how do you help me pound the phone with them?
So basically, you give me a geography, and I
Mhm.
can get you leads for the type of classifications of buildings that you want. I can
Okay.
get you the direct phone numbers of the actual owners because of the team in India. They can go ahead and search through and sort through all those shell corps. That's
Hmm.
their job,
Hmm.
and they
Do
can
they
actually
have
pull
Indian
actual direct data.
accents or
Oh yeah, all of them do, but
so
they're
does
not
that
cold calling.
still does that still close or does the Indian accent turn my potential clients off?
No, they're not cold calling them at all. Their job is to figure out the information, put it in a
Oh,
spreadsheet,
got
and
it.
then I hand it to you. Oh yes,
Got
we
it.
can do
Got it.
that, but I
Got
would
it.
recommend against it.
Okay. So yeah, so do they clean the data as well? Do you have a
Yes.
guarantee on that?
Yeah. And if it's a wrong lead, we do another one for you free
Hmm.
until we get it right. That's
How
it.
do you get those leads?
That's on Adidia side of the house. I know he's using half a dozen different tools and also human labor.
Hmm.
And that's where I let him deal with that. I know the vendors, I know some of them personally, but at a certain point, that's on his side of the house. My job is to bring in the
$45
business.
per lead, right? So like if I order a list of 1,000, that would be 45K.
No. So 45 to 55 is a special thing called direct mail leads and
Okay.
generally for final expense.
Okay.
That's where you would do like your Allstate, your State Farm. Those are your David Duforts. That's an entirely different ball of wax.
Hmm.
What we're offering is for $1, we'll verify your leads. For $2, we'll search for more. For $3, we'll go ahead and do an entire scan of everything you have, past, present, and future, and we'll go ahead and verify what's still good, what's not, update your CRM for you, and do all that for you. So all the clerical work.
Hmm.
The idea is we're giving you raw leads to dial. We're not providing intent. We're not going to claim that we're providing intent. They still have to go pound the phones. But at a certain point, for a lot of these insurance agents, you got to understand, I had to explain to a sales leader, a local insurance agent who's worth like a few million, right? What a CRM was or how to use
Hmm.
Calendly.
Hmm.
These guys are stuck in the past.
Yeah. And that's an advantage for us. Commercial is such an interesting business as well because it's a legal casino basically.
Bingo.
They bet on stuff. They're mostly right. I'm not sure how much percent of the time, probably 80 to 90%. And they do the math, while the
Bingo.
consumers they don't want to do the math. Um, and I'm targeting them as well nowadays. Commercial insurance. I have an ex co-founder that's what he does. Um, I target insurtech as well, pretty
Bingo.
much. As we've seen with the SVB implosion, basically, I think these companies they are very high up in demand. Because if
Right.
these founders were, I mean, yes, it would have to be with this bank, but I'm pretty sure there could be a fintech out there that says if there's a bank run, then we cover you, right?
Bingo.
Um, so very cool businesses, and I like the fact that you sell leads for that niche. But you get often the question, what's the difference between your lists or your leads and the competition's list leads?
Oh no, I get that question constantly. Here's my answer. I call a Diddy at 9 a.m. I call him at noon. I call him at 3 in the morning. I call him. I work with the Diddy directly. It's me and him. No this bureaucratic bullshit nonsense to verify the quality of your leads. There's
Hmm,
people behind it and there's software.
hmm,
They're human verified. And if we don't get it right, we fix it. with a lead vendor like your Seamless or whatever, there's just, again, just a tool.
What's your reaction when you get rejection on the phone? What's your mental model for that?
And next one.
Okay.
That's always been
No,
my thought. I've
no
never
hard
understood that.
feelings. If someone insults you, like, yeah, you dumbass. Like, what you said? You just hang up, or
I'm like, cool. Let me know if you need anything. Bye. That's it.
Okay. Good one. Yeah, because I remember when I used to start on the phone, I used to feel offended, but um, that's also interesting. And you do that like with those two jobs, like you must be working around the clock.
Uh, with TechNext is much more of an email driven campaign. Jester also very email driven. But my current with the one I'm dialing the most for is Task Minions.
That's got it. Huh? Yeah, JM told me about that one.
Yeah, it's the one that he's used for years. It's the one we've all used.
Quite interesting. What would you, last question, what would you recommend the new SDR that is starting out to do in the industry technically and internally, so mindset wise?
Technically, you need to learn your stack backwards and forwards. If you're relying on RevOps to tell you how to use your tool, you've already lost. You need to figure out a way to optimize the number of dials to conversation rate. Your goal should be, how do I use these tools that I'm given to optimize the rate of conversations? You should find out ideal dialing times. You should find out ideal pitches. You should test them. You should listen to all the calls you can. Mentally, it's one of those. I'm going to do it every day, whether I like it or not. It's a simple, I will get up and I will do this. That's it.
Yeah, it's
Anything
just the
else is
task
complicated.
needs to be executed and not
Bingo.
be thought of.
Bingo.
Love it. This has been a short one, and yeah, I have another call need to run. We need to do a round two of that. Where can people find out more about you, Wes?
Generally on LinkedIn, I'm posting as of now. I'm starting to post, and actively what I'm looking for is technical founders or engineers, basically. So basically, guys like me who are now founders who don't want to build a sales engine, because again, their basis is programming. They have, and rightfully so, they don't know how to build a sales engine. They just built a product. My job is to work with them, take what they need, take what they want, build out emotion so they can get back to programming and have something run on autopilot for them.